So now here we are in this place where franchises need buildings, want buildings. There's talk about expanding BMO Field. There's talk about an NFL team. There's the funny jokes between you and the mayor, Rob Ford. So I wanted to know...
Who says they're funny?
Well...
Did he say they're funny?
Well, you did when you...
Well, did you know what happened?
Yeah, well, I know. Well, he said that he called it a handout. You wanted an extra $10 million as a loan,
no, this
right?
is better. You haven't heard this.
No.
So when I first got here in June, there's an old, very established club where heads of state, when they visit Toronto, go address the lunch crowd, and they lost their mind and invited me. And so my PR people are like, you can't be controversial here. You got to be, okay, no problem. I was really good during the speech, didn't do anything that got me into trouble. Question and answers, it went downhill from there. So someone said, what do you think of the mayor?
Yeah.
And kiddingly, I said, oh, he's like Tommy Boy. And the PR guy's sitting there going, and so I'm like, okay, recover. So I'm like, but let's not forget, Tommy Boy saved the factory. So remember that.
Yeah.
And so then, unfortunately...
That's a great recovery, by the way.
Yeah, it didn't work so well. So then, unfortunately, things kind of spiraled out of control for him, and the Tommy Boy thing kind of stuck elsewhere. Yeah. But I think he blamed me. So when I first went in to see him a few months ago on the BMO renovation, he's like, hey, Timmy Boy, how you doing? And I'm like, oh, this is going to be a long meeting.
Well, because now so you are going to this city for money. Is it a loan? Is it a grant? Is it, because he's calling it a handout. So what is it?
Yeah, so going back to what you said earlier about Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, I know we have this reputation of being greedy. Mm-hmm. I know we have this reputation of only being driven by money and the bottom line. And I'm trying to do everything in our power to change that. And the owners would accuse me of maybe going too far because we're spending a lot of money. We're putting every penny we make as an organization right back into the organization now. So with BMO, the city owns it. And so it's not our stadium. And there's a lot of other things, including community usage, that occur there. And the majority of the money that was used to pay for it and build it came from the feds, the province, and the city. So we came along, and I was the first one to tell the city manager, I get you got a lot of better things to do with the money, so let's change this deal around. Right now, we need $30 million worth of capital improvements. That's $15 million out of your pocket and $15 million out of ours. And by the way, it's a Band-Aid, and we'll be right back here in 5 to 10 years with another 30 to 50 million because we didn't build it well. It doesn't have a roof. I hear it rains here a lot. Everything freezes up. Concrete, what does it do when it freezes? It expands. And what does it do when it melts? It shrinks and it cracks. And so without a roof, without weather protection, on a lake, with the winter we just had, we need a lot of work. So we went back and said, we'll take it over. We'll pay for the majority of it, even though you still own it and you still keep it. We'll do all the other usage, including community. We'll put up $90 million. You, the province, and the feds put up $10 million apiece. We'll take your $10 million, and I guarantee you, and our company will get behind it, we'll pay you back with interest over 20 years. So we return $15 million on your 10. We don't need your capital. And in fact, we'll put in all the capital improvements from this point on. We'll operate it from this point on. Now, I respect the mayor, and we're not trying to get involved in the political race. That's not a handout. That saves them $5 million instantly. And unlike the capital improvements, which they never get back and keep on paying, now we say to them, don't take any more risks, no more capital. We pay for everything for the next 20 years, and we'll give you your $10 million back with interest.
And that's because the city owns it, right?
The city owns it.
With your own building, because you're seeing this in other markets now, which is teams feel, or citizens feel like teams are holding them hostage to pay for buildings that they don't ever actually own.
But look at it, I mean, the way I look at it, I look at the city and they say, we want you to solve the Argos problem. Okay, we'll solve the Argos problem. $25 million to solve the Argos problem. Well, we're paying for that in order to allow the Argos to move in there and have a decent home, which they deserve. And so I get where someone would say, well, what's the city doing writing you a check for 10? And I'd say right back to them, because then they don't write the check for 15, they got to write us, and I pay them 15 million back. Right. And by the way, they never have to put another penny in, and we solve the Argos problem for them. Mm-hmm. We don't want to get caught in the political debate. We want to stay out of the mayor's race. It's not our place. I can't even vote. So we just went back to him and kicked him a little bit and said, don't make us an issue and don't call us the gravy train, because that's not fair.
So if he calls you the gravy train again, are you going to go after him?
I get all wound up.
You do?
So yeah, I do my, what does he do, Hulk Hogan? Is that what he claims he does?
Has he challenged you to an arm wrestle yet? Has that happened? No?
Nope.